Yo, we're going to go 3 for 3 when it comes to tackling this, well, ever-present problem with today's society. And here we have a rare instance that the NHL is actually leading the way and doing something good. Like, in general, man, they've been on the decline, at least for me and for the general audience as well, for quite a long time, bending the knee to all the Black Lives Matter stuff when there's like what, a fraction of a percentage, like Wayne Simmons and who else, like my personal favorite player in the NHL that played for my favorite team was Jerome McGinley. Okay, do I really need to qualify that stuff? But no, I'm a lapsed fan when it comes to hockey, even up in Canada, and it's just crammed down everybody's throat. And something that they tried to cram were these stupid rainbow jerseys that I don't know if anybody was buying them, but they sure as hell were promoting them. And the one person who stood up right at the beginning of this and said, nah, I'm good, was Ivan Provorov. We talked about him when this stuff happened at the time, and I can't believe that this was all the way back in January, okay? But yeah, no, he took all the slings and arrows when this began. Philadelphia Flyers, Ivan Provorov blasted for Pride Night refusal. And then, yeah, back when we talked about this when it went down, his jersey was completely sold out everywhere that you could get it. So it was popular among the fans. It just wasn't a popular sentiment amidst the NHL executives and everybody else that, oh my God, just don't ruffle any feathers. We'll just let the alphabet mafia just do their thing. Just, keep your heads down and continue to collect a paycheck. This was one of those very rare instances. And now we're starting to see it come back, especially with the Nashville stuff. And yeah, we got to talk about that, but that'll be in the second video. But this was one of the first instances where, yeah, you had an Orthodox Christian come out and say, this is against my values, you can just go straight to hell. And then right after that, a couple months later, when they had their next round of Pride Night, just they have one of those, cringe festivals, and then if you guys take a massive L on it, you don't have to continue to run it back time and time again. But then you had James Reimer, who's also been in the league for a long time. I'm not too familiar with Provorov, but I do remember the name James Reimer from back when I was a fan, and he was with the Leafs, and I guess he's still, around the league, but he also stood up. Now, he didn't have any connections back to the evil Russian Orthodox Church. He was just simply a Christian. He's like, this goes against my values. I'm not going to be doing this. But no, you had the Sudbury Star, okay? One of these affiliated, I think this goes along the same lines as Globe and Mail. Whatever, man, it's Canadian media, so it's all just owned and operated by the government, to be completely honest. It's all subsidized by it. You can go run the numbers and check it yourself if you don't believe me. But Reimer's Pride stand scores an own goal on the NHL. See, this is why guys who fundamentally don't agree with all of the propaganda, it's like, again, okay, I'm sure that, hey, going through the system, these guys probably had gay teammates at one point or another. I've been around hockey players. I didn't play hockey, never learned to skate. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I can't. I don't like hockey, okay? But all of my friends growing up were hockey players. One of my best friends growing up in grade school, he was one of the premier goaltenders. So him and his crew, running around with those guys, they are, at least at the time, they had a predilection to hyper-masculinity. And that's where I knew all about, locker room talk and all that stuff. Growing up as a guy, that's a foreign concept in today's day and age. So I knew it's like, okay, I see all of these rainbow jerseys that are around here. And it's like, real hockey players, guys that are on and around my age, and they aren't really for that. They don't really care what you do in the confines of your own life. They'll make jokes about it. But then again, these are guys playing sports. They're going to joke about everything, probably about as crudely as you can possibly think of. But then you have the wimps in the media that were never athletic enough, never gifted enough, never tall enough, strong enough, fast enough in order to play the sport. But they're marginally intelligent, and they can string a couple of sentences together in order to opine and deride the people that were more successful than them. That's what you have with Tom Mills. That's what you had with Scott McDonald. And then, when it was the Blackhawks, an entire team, an entire original six team deciding to, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and push all of those big gay jerseys off to the side for a second because we got a bunch of Russian players. Now, the Blackhawks aren't quite the Blackhawks of what they used to be in the early 2010s to mid 2010s when they were running championships back to back to back. So yeah, it's a fringe team. It's the Blackhawks. It's definitely number 6 if you're going to rank all of the original 6 teams. Okay, who really gives a shit? According to Andrew Crane, right? The Blackhawks won't wear pride jerseys for pregame warm-ups Sunday. This was back March 22nd, so this is a routine situation. I forget exactly when the Reimer situation popped off, but he had a little screed about it, and he said that, yeah, citing a couple of Saturdays ago, yeah, a few weeks ago, I seen the story popped up. I was going to talk about it then, but now it's great. Now it's good timing on all of this stuff as well, and it's just good to see guys on different teams, because Provorov was with the Flyers, Reimer's with the Sharks, the Blackhawks are out there, and then we got another team as well. If you stay true to your principles, you show a way forward. Because this is an opinion piece, but it's just all, backhanded, subversive bullshit that allowed that type of behavior to permeate and infiltrate professional sports, which, if you get to know athletes, for the most part, they're good people, hardworking people that are dedicated to their craft. And most people that aren't in media, aren't in the journalist class, don't really care all that much about where you put your dick or what you want to rub together. It's like, just not anywhere near me or my kids. Outside of that, man, you go be fine with that. But now that we're here in society, and the fact that, yeah, just because of your lackadaisical attitude towards all this stuff, they've continued to encroach to a point where wear the jersey, bigot, otherwise you lose your job. And it took bravery. It took bravery from Provorov and for Reimer to come out on this, because, yeah, you get pieces like this wrote up about you. I think he might be from the Sudbury area. He's definitely, most hockey players that hit the NHL are from the Greater Toronto area, so this all makes sense. Refused to wear the pride jersey in NHL game warm-ups a couple of Saturdays ago, citing his Christian beliefs. I joked online that Jesus has a better save percentage than the San Jose Sharks goalie. Oh, cool, so you're anti-Christian. No, if the right had that same energy, if traditional conservatives had that same energy, you'd get fired for that opinion. I'm about done playing, the whole, you need to take the higher ground on this stuff. They would do the exact same thing, okay? Because that's all that this write-up is all about. He didn't want to wear the jersey. He's a bigot. You should fire him. I also said that I thought Jesus would have worn the rainbow jersey. What do you actually know? What do you actually know about Catholicism, Christian values? Because you pick and choose them. James Reimer's Bible-based convictions didn't stop him from working on the Sabbath. Now, I'm not quite as brushed up on my biblical references, but he's also playing, so you could go ahead and assume that as much. But you're engaging in bad faith conversation, so I'm not going to take anything that you say seriously. So what's going to be the criticism when you have an entire team foregoing the pride jersey? The Athletic, Associated Press, and Chicago Sun-Times all reported on the pivot, with anonymous sources citing safety concerns for Russian players as the primary reason. That damn Putin, he's just once again ruining our rainbow jersey night. The Athletic adding the move was made by team management and security officials and not the players. It's also very interesting. Oh, okay, cool. It's all, wearing these jerseys, it's all supposed to be a show of compassion and love and inclusion for a marginalized group. But if Russian players don't want to do that because of their religious convictions, you need to go ahead and raise safety alarms. It's almost like they aren't that compassionate. They aren't all that inclusive of other people's opinions. It's almost like their ideas and opinions are terrible on their face and need to be enforced with violence or a threat of violence in order to succeed. Earlier in the season, the Wild and the Rangers also decided not to wear pride-themed jerseys for warm-ups, while individual players such as Flyers defender Ivan Provorov and Sharks goalie James Reimer have also skipped warm-ups this season and refused to wear the jersey. We do not condone whatever rhetoric, and we stand firmly with the community. We're just, not gonna placate you sinners, but make sure to buy the merch. But yes, this was a few days ago. This was about a week ago. They made the pivot on this, and then the next day, Eric and Mark Staal, who, again, if you don't follow hockey like that, The Staal Brothers, there was another one, Jordan Staal as well. And I didn't know that Eric and Mark were playing on the same team because Eric was a legend for the Carolina Hurricanes. And Mark Staal was a defender. He was, I think he's the youngest of the Staal brothers because there's Eric and then there's Jordan and then there's Mark. And Mark played for the Rangers for a long time. Jordan bounced around for a minute, and I don't know if he's the middle child, but Eric is, yeah. Eric very well could be a Hall of Famer, but the bar for the NHL Hall of Fame is pretty low. It's not NBA Hall of Fame low, where if you just turn up long enough, you'll eventually get a plaque. But these are definitely the biggest names to say anything about this nonsense. 2 more players have been added to the NHL's growing controversy. What controversy? Them just standing up for Judeo-Christian values? Abrahamic values? What are we talking about here? Panthers stars, Eric and Mark Staal did not participate in warm-ups ahead of the team's Pride Night game against the Maple Leafs. I'm sure the Maple Leafs probably just bent over because MLS and the teachers union told them that they had to do it. In protest on Thursday at FLA Live Arena, the former FTX Arena, hilarious, claiming that it went against their Christian beliefs. Based. It's funny. It's funny because if anybody does anything in service of being a part of the LGBT whatever spectrum, you hold that up as a defense, but you want to question their Christian values on this one? Very interesting. The rest of the Panthers roster participated in warm-ups, which they wore the Pride jerseys. They wore the jersey, bigot. After many thoughts, prayers, and discussions, we have chosen not to wear the Pride jersey. We carry no judgment on how people choose to live their lives and believe that all people should be welcome in all aspects in the game of hockey. Having said that, we feel that by wearing a Pride jersey, it goes against our Christian beliefs. Based. Absolutely based. And man, to be completely honest, those jerseys are ass, bro. Like, they're terrible. Like, what's the extra little scribbles that are on the back of there? And there you got Aaron Ekblad, who's, pretty good player. I don't know anybody else who's on the Florida Panthers squad anymore. Is Jay Bomeister still there? And they even got, an American big gay activist, Stuart Milk, coming down and dropping the puck as well as his pants. It's like sports back in my day, used to be an escape. It used to be a form of escapism. Now you have politics injected directly into your escapism. And if you push against that, all of a sudden you're the bigot. Well, looks like enough voices have finally stood up on this one. And you know what? Christians might have an actual W on this one. NHL to evaluate Pride Night in off-season after some players, there's a fair few at this point in time, and a fair few teams as well, CTV. Get your notations correct. Refuse to wear the jersey. You bigots, you won't wear the jersey. You're just basically committing a trans genocide. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman says the league will evaluate its Pride Night in the offseason after several players have refused to wear the Pride-themed jerseys this season. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like forcing them to make a statement on something that does nothing in actuality and only, I don't know, what's the value added? What's the value added to wear these stupid jerseys and warm-ups? Sell another version of your jersey? Placate a mob that was never going to watch or financially support your product to begin with? No, it's to make you look good to the rest of your friends, because you take a look at all of the other sports leagues that are out there and they could just continue to do the same dumb crap because fundamentally, high-level athletes, guys who play the game at that level, while they won't say anything about it because they're also, just kind of chicken shit and they don't want to be one of the first ones out there, put their neck on the line. Many athletes are conservative-minded. Not to say that you hate trans people or hate gay people at all whatsoever. No, of course not. It's just to say there's a live and let live opinion because athletic guys, accomplished guys, masculine men in general, they aren't about this stuff. They really aren't. But here's Bettman's statement before we punch out. This is the first time we've experienced that, and I think it's something that we're going to have to evaluate in the offseason. There you go. You use the tactics of the other side, because that's how they got into this, by 2 or 3 people picketing outside of the headquarters. You hate trans people. You won't let them into your league. It's like, well, none of them are good enough to play, but I don't know, we'll put on a hat or something like that. Will that make you feel better? Yeah, just pay us. Oh, okay, great, wonderful, fantastic. Because there's an old saying, revolution is just men standing up saying no. That's how it starts. That is how it starts. And now we're finally seeing that. And in the first sign of defiance that I can remember in a very long time in organized sports, it's working. And for the first time in a very long time, you're seeing Christians potentially take a W right here. It's really good to see. It's very good to see because the infiltration has gotten so deep. The indoctrination has gotten so thick where people just think that this is just part and parcel. Oh, you just have your different themed nights. Oh, there's Pride nights. See, that's so great. We're just going to take little Timmy down to the rink and he gets the little toy hockey stick and he just sits on it. Oh, see, I got a trans kid. It's so special. Or the NFL when they play, what is it? I think it's October. It's either September or October where they wear all the pink accoutrements for the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It all goes to service the Susan G. Komen Fund, which is the biggest money laundering scheme in all of cancer research. It has a payout rate to what Bono from U2's Red Foundation for Africa ends up getting. It's like a single percentage and the rest of it's just caught up in administrative fees. You're just paying lip service to something that A, you don't care about, B, you don't really fully understand, and C, is a message that you're being used directly for to push a political agenda. But I think somewhere along the lines and somewhere along the way the past couple of years, might have hit peak woke, might have hit it. And this might be one of the first, slides down the other side of the hill. And if nobody else pays attention to this stuff, it'll just be one of those farts in the winds and a course correct for the activist class that's out there. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. And weirdly enough, hockey's going to end up leading the way. Hey, man. Strange times that we live in. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.